These practice problems, the first one on the left here, now has two radicals in it. This is our first one with two radicals. We need to isolate one of the radicals. Well, I'm going to isolate this first one, and I'm going to do that by adding 2 square roots of x to both sides. Just like it were a regular algebra problem, I have to get rid of this quantity, and since it's subtracting it, to get rid of it, I have to add it. So I'm left with 3x plus 2, and I'm already going to change that to a rational exponent. And when I add 2 square roots of x to this side, I just have 2 square roots of x. And I'm going to change that to a rational exponent also. Now I have isolated the one on the left side here. The reason the one on the right is not isolated is because it has this 2 in front of it. In order to isolate the one on the right, I would have to divide both sides by 2. And I don't want to do that because division is usually not a place we want to go if we don't have to. So I'm going to work with this left side. In order to get rid of the 1/2 power, I have to raise it to the second. Okay, when I raise it to the second power, those cancel each other out. I also need to make sure I raise the other side to the second power. On the left, I'm just left with 3x plus 2. Now on the right, this is one of those times when you would use your properties of exponents and distribute the square, because it's multiply happening between these. So 2 squared would give me 4. X to the 1/2 squared, well, when I multiply my exponents, I'm just left with x. Notice how nicely that one worked out. It got rid of all of our exponents everywhere. Now I've got just a basic algebra problem, and I end up getting 2 is equal to x. I still have got to check it. So when I plug 2 back in here for my x, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So I have the square root of 8 minus 2 square roots of 2. Now you can use your calculator to do this if you want, or if you recognize that the square root of 8 breaks down into 2 square roots of 2, you can do it in your head. Because we actually end up with 2 square roots of 2 minus 2 square roots of 2. Well, that'll give me a 0, and that's exactly what I wanted. So we get to keep this x equals 2. Go ahead and pause the video now and try this other example here. Should have came up with x equals 9. Now the process I used was I subtracted the 10 over, rewrote that 6x minus 5 as to the 1/2 power instead of the square root. Then I had to square both sides. Then I did my algebra. Now you come up, you get x equals 9, but when you plug that back in, it doesn't work out so well. Because you end up with the square root of 54 minus 5 plus 10 is equal to 3. Well, 54 minus 5 is 49, so we have the square root of 49 plus 10 is equal to 3. The square root of 49 is 7, because remember it was given to us in the problem, so we can't do the positive negative thing here. 7 plus 10 equals 3. I end up with 17 equals 3. That is not true. So 9 does not work for us. It's an extraneous solution. Now in this situation, 9 was the only answer we got, and it didn't work. So for this particular one, it has no solution. 9 was what we found, 9 didn't work, there's nothing else, so it's no solution. Okay, here is the last one. It's got a couple fractions in there, but you will still follow the exact same process. So pause the video and see what you can come up with for this one. Okay, on this last one, subtract the 7/3 from both sides and you should get -1/3 on the right. Now don't forget about this little negative sign out front here. It's really a -1 being multiplied by this set of parentheses, so I have to divide by -1. Well, when I take -1/3 divided by -1, changes it into a +3rd. Then I had to raise both sides to the 4th power. On the left, my 4th and my 1/4 canceled out, so I had x minus 5. And on the right, since it's division, everything gets the 4. So the 1 gets the 4, the 3 gets the 4. Multiplied that out, and you get 1 over 81. Add 5 to both sides, so you could have 5 and 1 over 81, or 406 over 81. Now we have got to plug this back in to check it. So for this one, you're going to want to make sure you put your parentheses everywhere and your negative signs everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and use the improper fraction. You would have negative and then parentheses 406 over 81 minus 5. Raise that to the 1/4 power and add 7/3 to that. Once you get that typed in, push enter and you should get 2 back. That's exactly what we wanted, so we can go ahead and keep our answer down here.